Electricast.
At Evernorth Health Services, we believe costs shouldn't get in the way of life-changing care, and we're doing everything in our power to make it possible. Behavioral health solutions that also keep your projections at their best? It's possible. Pharmacy benefits that benefit your bottom line? It's possible. Complex specialty care that cares about your ROI? It's possible. Because we're already doing it. All while saving businesses billions. That's Wonder made possible. Learn more at evernorth.com/wonder.
Look, Bumble knows you're exhausted by dating. All the must not take yourself too seriously and 6'1" since that matters. And what do I even say other than hey? Well, that's why they're introducing an all-new Bumble with exciting features to make compatibility easier, starting the chat better, and dating safer. They've changed, so you don't have to. Download the new Bumble now.
Welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design, where we celebrate women who are shaping their lives one extraordinary day at a time. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, self-care coach for women who are ready to make self-care a priority to support them in life and business. Every week, I'll be speaking with inspiring women from various walks of life who will share their personal journeys and will discover how they have fearlessly carved their own paths as business owners, passionately pursuing their dreams and creating a meaningful impact on their communities. So let's get started. Welcome to Her Extraordinary Life by Design podcast. I'm your host, Leslie Gaudet, and today we're talking with business and mindset coach Ashley Pakulski. Ashley guides moms who started their business to overcome self-doubt and to confidently attract their dream clients so they can go full-time in their business with her signature framework. Ashley understands what it takes to show up as a mom and the CEO of her business and life. Being a single mother to her daughter and four-legged friend, she has acquired valuable insight and the unique ability to shift mindsets, master the inner game, and show up with real results you can see in your bank account. After years of trauma and addiction, Ashley held her daughter in her arms and knew she needed to show up differently for both her daughter and herself. She confronted her addictions, made peace with her traumas, and in the midst of it all, put herself through college, gaining a diploma in community and justice. One common thread entangled her life. It pushed her to go all in her business and show up confidently. Determined to overcome this negative habit, she dived deep into healing personal work. Through her work on mindset, inner game, and knowledge of the business world, she developed her signature framework. Almost overnight, her life changed from overwhelmed, exhausted, and guilt-ridden to being present, at peace, and owning her time instead of it owning her. With this newfound freedom, she was compelled to share what she has learned with other moms who are struggling in business and in life. It is Ashley's mission to inspire, impact, and empower every mompreneur she meets to grab onto their dreams and bring them to reality. Ashley, I've had the pleasure of getting to know you for quite some time now. Welcome, and thank you for agreeing to come on my show today.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm so honored and blessed. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you. Well, so before we get started, it's tradition for me to start my podcast episodes by getting to know my guests a little bit more. So please give us a behind the scenes view of Ashley, the woman. Who are you? And then we'll talk more about what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a mom. I have a daughter. She's a teenager now, first year in high school. So this was a very exciting time period for me. I also have my pet Tony. He's my other little baby, but I'm also a businesswoman. I have a huge history of trauma that I went through, the mental health addiction. So a lot of my journey was all about finding myself, the healing, I guess, because I was keeping myself stuck in a lot of different ways that was like self-sabotaging my actions and decision-making in my life that I was doing. And yeah, I love to read. I love to travel. I love helping anyone out the way that I can, any way that I can. I'm an author. Also, I love speaking. I love networking, connecting, and collaborating with women. So that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you so much for sharing that about you. So I do want to talk now about what you do. Could you start by telling us a little bit more about your signature framework and how it helps mompreneurs overcome self-doubt and attract their dream clients?
Yes. So I actually created this. Funny enough, when I started my business in the beginning and I was working with mompreneurs, I was more into like the whole time management kind of thing. But incorporated the mindset pieces. I was incorporating still the pieces that I have in my framework because these are like the top three pillars that I find that a lot moms struggle with. And it has a lot to do with the mindset piece, right? The limiting beliefs that hold you back. So that is the one pillar that we work through is becoming aware of those thoughts, those beliefs. And really like releasing and rewriting them as well. Reprogramming the subconscious mind. That's like the most powerful thing. Like they say, the foundation of success is 80% mindset and 20% strategy. So I really truly believe that. The next part of my pillar that I do have in my framework is a lot of times moms, we don't have time, right? We're so busy. And even though I teach these things, I'm a human being. Life happens, things happen. I find myself in a rut, but it's having these tools. And that's why in this pillar, we dive into the time management, productivity piece. Where are you spending your energy on? Are you doing the things that are keeping you busy, doing busy and like just self-sabotaging, but also creating routines? Like you're all about self-care. And that's so important. And I think we neglect that a lot. And that's what burns us out. So I have that piece and that framework. And then there's the whole strategy piece. And you can have the gold platter strategy for your business of what to do. But if your mindset, your thoughts and your beliefs and your energy are out of whack, it's not going to be bringing you the desired results you want. And that's period. And I strongly believe in that because if you're thinking, it's hard for me to sign on these clients or this isn't working for me, you're going to keep hitting that wall. So I have that pillar that is specifically designed for that, but it's finding the strategy, what best suits for you. What is something that works for you? Because there's like a lot of things that are out there. It's so easy to get confused and overwhelmed of like, what should I be doing kind of things. You're going this way, that way. And then you're like that paralysis state, because that has happened to me many times, or signing up every little thing to do. So it's getting crystal clear on that and your ideal client too. So those are like the three main things that I tackle into. But yeah, they're broken into the one-on-one coaching. And every person's different too. So it depends who's coming in, what their problem is that they're looking to fix as well.
Yeah, I love that you say that because I'm the same way. I feel like self-care is important, but it's not a one size fits all model. So what works for one person may not necessarily work, especially in the time frame for someone else. And being able to tailor, even though you have that signature framework, being able to tailor it to fit someone's needs, because we are individual, we're different from one another. We might share similar experiences, we might live similar lifestyles, but how we actually live into those moments is going to feel different. It's going to look different than anyone else. And so I love the fact that you recognize that for your clients, that even though you have your framework, it's also about, let's see what your lifestyle is so I can tailor it a little bit, at least around those things for you to help you feel more at ease and confident to make it work. And I think that's really important.
And, I even had like a client, she came into me and it was all about figuring out like how to get her business going and everything. But again, it's tailoring your needs, right? She was coming to thinking that this is what she needs support with, but we created a whole different business for her, which she actually really loved. So it was amazing, amazing. So again, everyone's different.
Yeah, thank you so much. So your bio says that, of course, and you talked a little bit about it briefly, that you have overcome trauma and addiction and other challenges to build the life that you have today for you and your daughter. So can you share a little bit more about that journey and what drove you to confront your past head on?
Yeah. So since I was a little girl, I remember being molested. And it was like this situation that happened. I don't remember everything to the full detail, but there's stuff that are there. And I guess I didn't have that voice to even say anything. And I'm still going through that healing phase. I guess it's more like the whole forgiveness. I did forgive, but really trying to work through it because I seen that it affected many different areas. And it did affect many different areas of my life. In high school, I was sexually assaulted by 3 men. That's when I started, I guess, experimenting with substances, alcohol. But, you're in high school, you're growing up, and it's like the thing to do kind of thing. It's like that stage, right? So I was really using that to cover up the pain and the wounds. And that's when I started to have outbursts, starting to feel angry. I was never an angry child. I was the most perfect kid. Like everyone always used to say, your daughter's so great and everything. And I listened to everything, but I feel down along the road, I feel like my voice was like, I couldn't even scream or say anything. Like I even remember when the whole sexual assault happened when I went to the hospital. I was like, I don't know why I couldn't scream. And she's like, it's normal. She's like, because that's what happens with the fear, sometimes like the vocal or whatever. And I remember her saying something like that. But that voice not having, it wasn't just even those moments. It was moments where I needed to defend myself in a positive way. I didn't have that voice. So it really affected me that way. And also I was doing things to please other people, to getting that attention. I didn't know who I was. I didn't love myself. I was looking for someone to love me or appreciate me, but it was in the wrong way, because when you have alcohol and substances mixed in the mixture, your head's not thinking. So I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I always had that belief that there was something always greater. So I don't know, there was that little seed that was planted inside that there's something better than this, right? So I tried the psychologist counseling. It was like a trial and error, and there were some that were great, but I felt like it wasn't really connecting. I was still in that loophole kind of thing. That's when I really started tuning into doing mindset work. I started listening to Bob Proctor. I started listening to more motivational videos, Les Brown, and all those things. And that's when it really started beginning for me. Even when I started with the network marketing business, I was going to these events. Even with my business starting, I started learning more about me. And I started learning more about healing. And it was one step after another. And it was a long road. Even after I had my daughter, after a while, long while, I stopped drinking. But there was a period that I said, hey, maybe I can have the one or two. People stop drinking and they drink a year later and they're fine. And it was fine. It was completely fine. But when my friend died, it kind of went spiral. And that's when I was like, not spiraled that I was blacking out or anything, but it was still going day to day kind of thing. And it was affecting my thinking, right? And that's when I was enough is enough. And I completely stopped with alcohol. I'm 9 months sober. I don't plan on drinking any alcohol. I love alcohol-free life. I think completely different. And it's just an ongoing journey. It's not that it just stops and that's it. You're always learning different things about you. There's things that resurface too. Even recently, I had things that resurfaced and I'm working through them still too. So it's an ongoing process, but yeah, that's where I am today.
I love that. And thank you so much for sharing that. I know that can be very difficult, but I think it's really important that we are able to speak those things out loud. I truly feel like there's always healing every single time whenever I speak about my past, that there's always some form of healing. And I think it's incredible to see that you have come so far from we felt like we were broken when we were younger and having those things. And of course, not loving yourself and finding ways to mask the hurt by, as you were saying, the things that you chose to do, and then finding yourself in situations that were really harmful for you and having to deal with all of that trauma. So thank you so much for sharing that, because I really, really think it's important that people realize that being part of the mindset work, as you're saying, is really facing that past person. Your past doesn't define who you are, but your past can influence how you show up in your world if you don't deal with those things, right? And you know that, and that's how you work with your clients. And I love that. So thank you for sharing so much, so deeply, because it really means a lot. So how did becoming a mother influence your mindset shift and motivation to show up differently for yourself and your business?
It's a good thing that you asked that too, because I've always knew, like, when I had my daughter, she saved my life. And the number one thing is I want to protect her. I remember when she was even a little kid in diapers and I went on a date and her father split up, and the babysitter's like, I tried so hard to change her diaper, but she just wouldn't let me, because I always said, no one can touch you here or there. And the lady tried changing her diaper and she's like, Sienna's like, no. So I protected, I could have been overprotected, not too overprotected, but I really protected her. So I had that fear, even her, like I just said right now, that was a different journey of her going into high school. That's when I started to rebel, right? So that's when things started spiraling out. So I had that fear. And her going into high school, her grades are great. She's focused on dance. She's a smart, incredible woman. And having her changed my life. And even with family, you love your family, but you have that little rivalry kind of thing, whatever, brother, sister kind of thing. And I was told before many times, you'll have nothing, you're nothing. And even though I know that's not true, those words somewhere subconsciously stayed back. And then you don't think you're worthy enough, right? And it doesn't mean that necessarily you believe what they say, because I don't believe what they said, right? I know that I'm worthy of what I want to create, and it still stuck back there. So having her and going through the things that I went through in my life, it was like I had to fight for my sanity, happiness, stuff like that. But I was the best mother ever, giving her this value, these tips. Until this day, I tell her and I teach her these things, and she learns these things and she's taking them into her daily life. So to me, it was like, I have to do this to give her the best life, for her to, after have that good life and have that chance, that opportunity not to go through the things that I went through. Of course, she's going to go through her life stuff, but I didn't want her going through the stuff that I went through, that I put myself in very dangerous situations. And I'm so lucky to be alive. So yeah, she's my lifesaver.
I love that. Thank you. So now let's talk about mompreneurs again. What would you say are some of the unique struggles that moms face in balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship, and how do you help them overcome that?
Yeah. So I always say I don't like the word balance, because I think like balance is like things are always going to pop up. I say like managing, you're trying to manage. And it's true, things do pop up. You have a plan, you schedule things in, and something unexpected always happens, right? So the first thing I always say too is the guilt. The guilt is the biggest thing, because it's like this big seed thing that you're planting, because you're already feeling guilty that you're not spending enough time because you're focusing on your business. But your business is what is going to give you that freedom. So you're going to have to leverage both, right? A little bit here, a little bit there. There's going to be some days that you're going to be more with the kids. There's going to be some days you're going to be more with the business. You know what I mean? And a lot of times too, as mothers, we neglect ourselves and we put ourselves last, because the kids have to go do this, we have to do this, we have to create this, and then we're burning ourselves out, right? So having that time for yourself, that is the biggest thing. And that's why I'm really big about scheduling your morning and night routines. That is a one thing I teach, and I make sure that they do, because it doesn't have to be a full morning routine where you're spending 2 hours in the morning for yourself. It could be an hour if you want, but it could be 5 minutes, right? And it could be whatever you want to put for yourself. It could be breath work. It could be meditation. It could be journaling, affirmations, whatever, going to the gym, going for a walk, right? But it's something that's going to fuel you, because when you're fueling yourself, you're going to take better action. You're going to have that mental clarity, and you're going to feel better, and you're going to be that better mother. You're going to respond versus react. So it's really looking at your schedule, because a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this, I love to-do lists. And this is like a little bit different, but I write everything out and I schedule everything. I have everything scheduled on my calendar. I have it on my phone, because sometimes even though it's written on the calendar, I can forget. But I still like to write on a piece of paper the night before my whole to-do list. But how many times are you writing your to-do list and you're adding more things on and you're not even getting them done, because it's like, it's not even that important. So there's like that, I don't know if I forget the name of it. It's like that four square thing. So it's like the most important, the middle, the least, or whatever. I can't remember exactly that. So it's figuring out prioritizing, right? And taking that action, because a lot of times what we're doing is we make it difficult for ourselves. Honestly, we really do. And when we say we don't have enough time, that is complete BS. There is enough time. It's just because you're stressed out, you're overwhelmed, you're focusing on the things that okay, yes, you have to take the kids to dance, to school, you have to feed them, but there's other things that you're putting your energy into that you shouldn't be putting your energy into. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true. Time management. Like a lot of the time I always feel like people when they're talking about their business, when they get it where they exactly want it to be, all the money in the world, the financial freedom, they feel like the financial freedom buys them that time freedom, but it's really how you manage your time that gets you that time freedom. And I think if once people start really tapping into that, they're like, oh, so if I manage my time better, I'm going to actually have more time freedom. And that is exactly it. And it's just knowing what you're putting on your calendar. So I think that's important. And I love when you were saying the managing of motherhood and entrepreneurship. When I look at balance, it's really what you were speaking to is you're going to spend more time some days working on this and more time. You're going to have more time to spend doing those activities with your family because maybe your business tasks weren't that much that day. That to me is balance. It's learning to put in where it needs to be put in and being okay with that, right? And being okay with the schedule that you put. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to add in too, because you made a good point too, like when people think like, oh, when I make this much money, everything's going to be better. And yes, money is a great thing, honestly. And money is a tool that we need to help us with everything. But I always say it's being that person now. You have to be her now. It's not when you're making the 50K, you be that person now. So what is she doing? How is she taking care of her time? How is she taking care of herself? How is she managing her business and looking how simplifying things as well? But yeah, I just wanted to throw that piece in there.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So now for mompreneurs who want to take their business to the next level, what would you say is the most transformative mindset shift that they can make to reach that next level?
I think that belief in yourself that you are worthy enough. You are worthy. Like we are no different. We all have the same head, the brain, the arms. And you see people how far ahead they are and where they are. We're the same people, right? It's just how your mindset is. It's how you believe in yourself, right? If you're going to see, it's easier to do the easier things rather than the discomfort things because our brain is trying to protect us. It's keeping us safe, right? So that's where the fear comes in, like, what if I fail? So it's like really working through those fears and understanding them. But a lot of it comes down to, am I even worthy enough? Am I even capable enough? Am I, and you have to have that belief in yourself. You have to have that. And it's funny, I was speaking with someone and I was actually saying, I'm like, oh, but if I do this, or one day if I do that. And then she's like, you're saying a lot of ifs. And I'm like, you know what? That is so true. And you don't even realize that. And I started reflecting on that. And it's taking away that if or maybe when and really replacing it to I am. Like your energy, your cells, everything in you is more stronger and more like capable. Your brain's going to find ways to do things, right? Instead of maybe if, like you're going to be sitting on that borderline. So really, truly, having that belief in yourself, that worthiness, you are worthy. Whatever you have in your heart and your desire is because God gave it to you. And that is your desire. It's not selfish. It's not that it's out of reach. It's something that is yours, that for you.
Yeah, it's so, so true. I feel like we have to realize that our words do matter because what we're saying, we're speaking into our reality. So I really feel like that's so important. Ashley, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your journey. Thank you so much for being so open and vulnerable. I really appreciate that you shared that because it's really going to land. I am most certain it's going to land with someone to realize that, hey, I'm not alone. I can do this. Even my past it doesn't define who I am. It's just a part of my journey. And I can use that to my advantage to further fuel me, to inspire me, to encourage me to keep moving. I'll make sure that I include your contact information in the show notes for anyone interested in learning more about your signature framework, your coaching programs. And I hope that your advice today motivates our listeners to make their transformational mindset shifts that are needed to reach new levels of success. So thank you so much for taking time with me today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I was so excited to be here and I love being here and chatting with you. And thank you so much.
And to our listeners, remember, you have the power within you to create an extraordinary life and business on your own terms. So keep believing in yourselves. Wishing you all continued growth and momentum. And until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep designing your extraordinary life one day at a time. Thank you for joining me on Her Extraordinary Life by Design. I hope you've been inspired and empowered by the incredible stories shared on this show. If you enjoyed this episode and the conversations we've had, I would greatly appreciate if you could take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback and support mean the world to me, and it will help others discover the podcast and join our empowering community. Remember to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Together, we can continue to learn from these amazing women, uncover their extraordinary journeys, and be motivated to create our own lives by design. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, stay empowered and keep shaping your extraordinary life one day at a time.
Ever thought about starting your own podcast?
Do you have a business or a message you want to share with the world?
Well, now it's easier than ever with Electricast. Hi, I'm Mark Netter.
And I'm Peter Rafelson. We're the founders of Electricast Media.
Whether you want to start a new podcast or already have one, join Electricast to grow your audience, monetize your content, and build your community.
With our simple sign-up, you get free promotion, world-class analytics, premium ads, and personal support.
Go to electricast.com and join our community today.
Electricast. Transform your influence.
Electricast. Hey guys, it's Miriam Love here, and I want to share something very special with you. Check out my new release, All In, the Spanish remixes, out now on Electricast Records. And always remember, be love, share love, all love.
Available now wherever you listen to music.
Electricast.